they wanted to keep Paul locked up. They wouldn't let him out. The resilience here is that Paul remained dedicated to spreading the gospel despite relentless persecutions. His letters from prison continue to inspire and teach Christians worldwide. So what can we take away from Paul's story? Well, one, you have to go read the book of Acts so that you can really get into the nitty-gritty of Paul's story. But what his story teaches us is about the power of transformation, dedication, as well as unwavering faith. And it shows that resilience involves a steadfast commitment to one's mission despite the external and internal challenges. Good morning. Welcome to the Conscious Courage podcast and happy Sing It With Me Motivational Monday. I am your host, Davone'a Tashae. I meet with you all every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to provide practical steps toward our inner healing journey, or what I've coined internal glow up. So whether you're here for the first time or returning, I thank you for tuning in. The team and I are so grateful to every subscriber via YouTube, every listener on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify, and every IGU babe out there who is keeping up with us via social media at CC Podcast with DT. Y'all are locked in and we are too hyped that you're here. Ensure that you listen through to the end of this episode to receive your practical steps. And also, here's an announcement, y'all. We are seeking 100 downloads via the audio streaming platforms I just mentioned by 1 July 2024. So get out there, listen, download, like, subscribe, all of the things. Okay, let's dive into today's episode. Okay, did y'all tap into last week's 3-part episode where I took a different approach, and instead of bringing you practical steps and information, education centered around overcoming adversity, I chose to tell you my story and how I have overcome adversity and I continue to overcome adversity today. I'll pull a little bit from last week's 3-part episode. If you didn't tune in, don't worry about it. It's on YouTube. It's also available via the streaming platforms that I've mentioned. But in case you skip past the introduction, those streaming platforms are Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify and Google Podcasts. So you can go out, listen to the 3-part story, and then connect the dots between the references I make in today's episode. Today is episode 10. We are addressing building resilience, strategies for coping with adversity. So in this episode, I will provide you with some practical strategies for building resilience and effectively coping with adversity. I've already said it here in the Internal Glow Up crew. As an IGU babe, a part of the IGU crew, the Internal Glow Up family, we are all about resilience, okay? Yes, we are. And we will discuss various techniques as well as tools that can help individuals withstand and recover from difficult situations, emphasizing the importance of mental toughness and emotional fortitude. I will share with you 4 different key points, of course, give you some examples and such, and then we will conclude this episode with practical steps that I love so much, and I hope that y'all love them too. Now, key point number 1, resilience is more than a buzzword. It's a fundamental aspect of human psychology that enables us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and determination. Think of it as a mental muscle that grows stronger with each setback that we overcome. Research in the field of psychology supports this analogy, suggesting that resilience is not an innate trait, so you were not born with that trait, but rather a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time. And studies have shown that individuals who actively engage with and overcome challenges are better equipped to handle future adversities, illustrating the dynamic nature of resilience. And that is straight from an article dated 2014 by mastin. And I have this visual for you. Imagine this is 100 pounds, y'all. Yeah, one arm, baby. Where my ice cold water at? This is too easy. But in the same way, when you're working out and you are building your muscle, you're contracting, you're releasing, you're contracting, you're releasing, you're contracting, you're releasing. And your body is facing some adversity. Maybe it's not accustomed to that 100 pound, 2 pound, 5 pound, 3 pound, whatever it may be. And you're starting to break the muscle down. But what you will notice is over time, when I used to be in the gym all of the time, they would say, increase your weights, y'all, by 5 pounds every week. So go up 5 pounds, or depending on what the exercise is, you can go up 2.5 pounds the following week. And you're increasing the intensity. And what does that do? That builds your muscle. So you break the muscle down, and as it comes back, or as it builds itself back up, it doesn't come back like it disappears. As the muscle builds itself back up, you're becoming stronger and stronger. That muscle is becoming stronger and stronger, which allows you to increase the weight with time. Now, when we're discussing adversity, our goal is not to experience more adversity. But the key here is that when you overcome this situation, this obstacle, this challenge, the next one is not as intimidating. You'll figure out, how did I overcome that last adversity, the last setback, the last time my bank was overdrawn, the last time I considered suicide, the last time depression came upon me, the last time I thought about doing something to this person or that person, the last time, I overcame that by why? Okay, so let me implement that tool here. And then what is your Z, your output? You come out stronger, you come out better. You don't act on the idea of suicide. You don't allow depression to sit on you for weeks on end. You don't allow yourself to reach a zero balance bank account again. So what are you doing? You're building up your resilience to those situations. Just a small example. You're moving stronger and with wisdom. By embracing challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to be avoided, we can cultivate resilience and emerge from adversity even stronger than before. This mindset shifts, just wanted to double down on that part because it's a shifting that has to take place, is essential for fostering resilience, as it encourages us to view setbacks as temporary roadblocks on the path to success rather than insurmountable barriers. So rather than something that you cannot see yourself getting through, going around, going over, it's just not something you can overcome. I was trying to think of another word, synonym to insurmountable. Instead of looking at that fear, that challenge, whatever is sitting in front of you, like, oh my gosh, I cannot do X, I cannot complete this. No, you shift your mindset and have an outlook of, I can do this and this is how, or I can do this, let me figure out how. So you're shifting your mindset from no, I cannot, to yes, I can if I will win. Ad break. Are you seeking an electrifying speaker to ignite transformation in your audience? Well, look no further. Hi, I'm Davone'a Tashae, real estate investor, Air Force veteran, and host of the Conscious Courage podcast, where new episodes are released every Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via YouTube and all streaming audio platforms. I specialize in delivering impactful keynote speeches that inspire change and elevate your minds. Whether it's a virtual gathering or an in-person event, I bring passion, expertise, and a unique delivery to every arena or every environment that I'm in. Let's captivate your audience together and create an unforgettable experience. Contact me today to book your next event, and let's embark on this journey of transformation, or let's get all of your attendees on this journey toward internal glow up. You can book me via my website by going to www.davoneatashae.com. I'll spell that for you. It is www.davv as in Victor, EATASHAE.com. I look forward to connecting with you. Take care. Furthermore, resilience is not just about bouncing back from adversity. It's about bouncing forward. In other words, it's about learning, adapting, and growing from our experiences, even in the face of adversity, even in the thick of it all. By adopting this forward-thinking approach, we can harness the power of resilience to not only overcome challenges, but also thrive in the face of uncertainty. So the next time you find yourself facing a setback, remember that resilience is not about avoiding the challenge. It's about facing them head on and emerging stronger on the other side. With each obstacle we overcome, we become more resilient, more capable, and more prepared to tackle whatever life throws our way. And what I'll share there is something I learned. This personality may be a little bit too much for people, or what I take as this is how I live, this is what I do, this is where I work, and not in a way of boasting, but like this is my real life, could come off as or perceived as something else. So when communicating, it's not always, and I know I shared this in May, it's not always what we're saying, it's also how the other person is perceiving it. So with this new understanding, not that I didn't understand it before, but in the work environment, let me specify, I will not overshare, because I see more often than not, if I say I work at a shoe store, you know what the person replies with? Oh, well, I've worked at 2 shoe stores. Oh, I wake up around 6 in the morning, and first thing I do when I wake up is I jump out of the bed and I do 100 jumping jacks and 50 burpees. And then the person replies with, well, I wake up at 5:50 and I do 1,000 jumping jacks and 200 burpees. And it's like, what? So although those examples are not realistic, what I learned is my day-to-day or my way of living that brings joy, that brings peace, that is something I would wish to share so that another person can potentially also experience the joy, peace, minimal stress, could be perceived as, who does she think she is? And it's like, what? How did you get that? So I'm saying a lot to say less is more. So in this time of growing, in this time of overcoming, in this time of building my resilience muscle, I'm taking the lessons learned by that way the next time, because there will be a next time. There's adversity I'm facing, and if it's in the same environment, an education environment, a work environment, a professional environment, I know it would behoove of me to listen more than I speak. Someone shared with me, it's better to show a person who you are rather than tell them. It is better to describe, this is who I am, opposed to saying, this is what I do. And that's another nugget that I learned from the situation that I shared in last week that I endured for 4 months. So just thought I'd drop those nuggets in how adversity has taught me some things. Moving on to key point number 2. Okay, y'all, let's talk about how we can build our mental strength to bounce back stronger when life throws us a curveball. I don't know if that was baseball or if that was bowling, okay? Either way, it's a curveball. One way to do this is by changing how we look at tough situations. Instead of seeing them as huge, impossible roadblocks, we can start seeing them as temporary bumps in the road. You know, like when you are driving and you see a pothole, it's annoying, but you can still keep going. You just have to drive around it. Doesn't hold you back from your destination. It's just like, really fix your streets. And then you go around it and you keep on going toward your destination. Another trick is to be kinder to ourselves. And a counselor once said this, talk to yourself the way you would talk to your friend. Are you hard on your friend, or are you more consoling and understanding with your friend? And if you are, be that way with yourself. If you're that way with your family, be that way with yourself. It's all about giving ourselves a pep talk, reminding ourselves that we are doing the best that we can and that it's okay to stumble sometimes. And don't forget about the power of positive thinking. Seriously, it can make a huge difference. Today's going to be a good day, right? Joy and peace goes before me. Everywhere that I step, there is joy, there is peace. With my left foot, there is joy. With my right foot, there is peace. Speaking that over taking authority of your day. Don't get me to preaching. Don't get me to preaching. Somebody in the back said, preach it. You got time. Keep going. I heard you. But instead of getting bogged down by negative thoughts, try flipping the script and focusing on the good stuff. It's like looking at the bright side of things. It helps us stay hopeful as well as motivated, even when times are tough. So the next time life throws you that curveball, right? I don't know if this is baseball or a bowling ball, but it is what? A curveball. Remember these tricks. Reframe the situation. Be kind to yourself and stay positive. With the little practice, you'll be bouncing back from setbacks like a pro. Key point number 3 is mindfulness. Now, I know my brothers and sisters in Christ are going to be like, mindfulness is new age practice. Please bear with me. Just hear your girl out and where we are about to go with this. The role of mindfulness in stress management and building resilience, okay? Mindfulness and stress management are important for building resilience, helping us handle life's challenges with a clear mind and calm spirit. So let me break this on down. What mindfulness means when I say it, not talking about with anyone else, not talking about when anyone is pushing the agendas that are out there or how anyone else uses mindfulness, but when I, Davone'a Tashae, says the word or say the word mindful, or I am describing mindfulness, it means paying attention to the present moment without judging it. It's about being aware of your thoughts and feelings and surroundings as they happen. So if I were to take you through my day, I wake up, I'm in my word and or I'm praying. Then I turn on a sermon. I turn on someone's prophetic word. I turn on a teaching. Then I'm driving in silence. Or actually, I'm more than likely praying. Okay? Then I am communicating all day long for the most part. Well, not all day. I shouldn't say all day, but I have human interaction for the most part while I'm at work. Then I come home. I am probably going to scroll through social media like 10 to 15 minutes. Naturally, my body will realize, hey, this is too long, and I'm over it. And 15 minutes is probably too long. But it's like, oh, okay, what did I miss? Let me check my personal account. Let me check the podcast account. Whatever. All right. Then it is me finding something else to do. So when I became mindful, and when I say that, meaning when I became aware, like, whoa, where have you given yourself time to breathe? Given my brain time to relax. I heard someone say over this past weekend that we experienced $11,114,000. Lord, somebody deposit that into my account, please and thank you. We experienced 11,114,000 impressions. And our brain is only able to withstand 40. Or I said impressions, but they may have said sensations, one or the other. What I'm meaning is that's a huge surplus. So when I take a step back and I look at myself and what I just described to you, that from the time I wake up, I'm doing something. It's go time. I'm probably even checking emails, like what's going on. My brain has not had a time to simply stop. I haven't given myself any time to just let the thoughts flow. Who knows I might think about, oh my gosh, look at that rainbow bunny that just jumped out in front of the car and the car now has legs and it ran off. Like, the thoughts may mean nothing whatsoever. But I haven't given myself the time nor the space to allow those thoughts to flow, and without judgment. But me being mindful, me being aware, I'm now very intentional. So yes, I don't drive in the car with anything playing. Yes, I do not own a television, and I haven't owned a television since 2020, 2019. Yes, I don't think I had a third one to say yes to. I mentioned the radio and I mentioned the television because those can be distractions, and I have eliminated those. But I filled my time with other actions, other go dos, other checklists that I haven't given myself the space to be present, to be calm, to allow myself to relax. So something that I've done, let me get straight to it so we can continue to flow. And that is, well, something I've done actually for a couple years now. If I'm wearing my smartwatch, I am not kidding you. Let my feet cross the threshold of my door, the watch is automatically off, like immediately. It is very now that it was innate. Okay, I was born with the skill to take that smartwatch off. Because I want to immediately detach myself from being readily available. I don't want the distraction of looking down, oh, I have this, I have that, whatever. Nope, immediately it's taken off. My phone, for a good majority of time, is on Do Not Disturb. Don't want that immediate, again, connection to me. I want to be hands off. I've considered doing this and I've tried and it didn't work because I have trained myself to always execute and do something. So I'm like, just come in, remove the watch, put the phone down, put my things down, and lay down. I'd say give myself 30 minutes. It probably lasts more like 13 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, let me do something. But I'm moving toward the mindfulness, and that is allowing my body to just be present, allowing me to be present. Some people are busy because they're running away from responsibility. They're running away from executing. They're running away from that depression, that anxiety. Others, goal oriented, and they're just getting after it. And for some, that's the way of life. You don't have a choice. In order to build resilience, however, you need that space. You need that time. You need to read if that's maybe your break time. When you go into the restroom, instead of taking your phone, just sit there. Just sit there and handle your business. And then sit a little while afterward. Think about your phone, but don't have it until you get to a point where you're no longer thinking about the phone. A goal of mine is to not have any thoughts, like to be able to sit down, even if it's for 5 minutes, and it's just like, let me admire and listen to the birds chirping and close my eyes and think about the trees that I pass by coming in from work, just being present. But enough of that. So what is stress management? Stress management involves techniques that help you handle stress in a healthy way. It's about finding effective methods to relax and calm your mind as well as your body. And this is why mindfulness, or being aware, is important when building resilience, because mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thoughts and your emotions. This awareness is the first step in managing them effectively. When you can identify stress triggers early, you can take the necessary steps to manage your reactions before they overwhelm you. I'm almost certain I spoke about this, but not in this platform like the Conscious Courage podcast, but during my time of creating content. And I became aware in how my body holds stress, where my body holds stress. I became aware of what it feels like when I am becoming stressed. And that is through awareness. Count how many times I just said aware during that explanation. And that's what I mean when I say mindfulness. It's being mindful of my body. Okay, I'm feeling this way in this area. Wow, I didn't recognize I was stressing until I started feeling tension in this. You know what? I am overwhelmed right now. This kind of feels like depression. Is just taking the time to be present, getting to know yourself will enlighten you more, and then you can take care of yourself in the way that your body needs. So here are some ways that you can stay grounded, and that is taking deep breaths. I remember I worked with someone, and she would always go, But that was her body's natural way of releasing tension. Not that she was frustrated. She said herself, like, my body is just releasing stress. Some people choose to hold it in, and that's when you get cramps and back aches and stomach aches and ulcers and migraines and headaches and everything else. But when you become aware, wow, right now I'm feeling anxious. Let me take a few deep breaths. That's a very simple technique that you can use. So just bring awareness to the situation. I'm anxious right now. Take 2 deep breaths, maybe 3. Okay, let me think this through. Is this worth being anxious over? Do I have a plan that I can implement right now that will help me get over this hurdle, that will help me get through this here? Do I have someone that I can call? Let me go and pray. It just allows you to have a clear mind, to think some things through. In addition to the breathing exercises, or maybe I said exercise because I know what I'm going to talk about next, and that is physical activity. That is exercising. That could literally, y'all, look like you just getting up and walking. I like weights. Maybe that's not your thing yet, and that's perfectly fine. Just get up and move. Maybe you gotta wiggle it out, okay? Just get up and do one of these numbers. Even shake your legs, okay? Put on some Barney, shake it all about, okay? Do the hokey pokey. Even a short walk will help you clear your mind and reduce stress. Maybe it's lunch or it's a break and you get up, excuse me, I'm going to go take my 10-minute break, a 15-minute break. I'll be back, y'all. Something like that. Having effective time management can also help to decrease stress by helping you stay organized and avoid last-minute rushes. That is for the procrastinators out there. Make a to-do list as well as prioritizing tasks will help you manage your time better. Now, for those out there who's going to say, me mentioning mindfulness is witchcraft, or like I said, it's new age. I'm going to bring in some science, and if you stick around, I'm going to bring in some scripture, not scripture that says or uses the word mindfulness, okay? But stick around. You're going to get educated today. So mindfulness has been extensively studied, or as I like to say, just simply being aware. And research has shown that it reduces stress, improves focus, as well as enhances our emotional regulation. It's a technique used by psychologists as well as therapists to help people manage mental health conditions. Y'all, so mindfulness isn't magic or supernatural. Not saying that it can't be used. There's everything, well, not everything, but there are techniques I probably shouldn't use the word techniques, but there are ways of living. There we go. That our society can take and has taken and manipulated and made it into something dark. Yet those ways of living are healthy or can be healthy. In the same way, you can take this chemical, that chemical, you can take this cooking ingredient and mix it with something else and it produces X, but that's not what it was created to do. That's because people came in, they manipulated some things, figured out, oh, this creates whatever, and now people may buy it, people may partake in it, whatever the case may be. Just keep that in mind as I continue to go through and discuss mindfulness or being aware. So there is something considered mindful eating. Mindful eating is simply taking a bite and being like, you know what, let me go ahead and chew maybe 10 times opposed to my 3 chews that I do, or just eating these things whole. There's mindful walking, and there's deep breathing, which are simple and very accessible to people. Mindfulness, again, is to improve your mental well-being, but don't use it in the way that the others are. Many people often from different backgrounds and religions practice mindfulness for its mental health benefits, not the spirituality reasons. By integrating mindfulness and stress management into our daily lives, we can build a resilient mindset that helps us face adversity with strength and clarity. These practices are not just theoretical. They are practical tools that can make a real difference in how we handle life's challenges. While the Bible doesn't explicitly use the term mindfulness, okay, y'all? We're making that transition. There are several passages that teaches us about being present as well as self-aware and thoughtful. And that's what what have I said as I have been talking, not we, but I've been talking, and that is it's being aware, okay? It's being present. It is being thoughtful. Think before you speak. It's being thoughtful in let me think before I take action. It's being thoughtful in let me think before I spend this money. Let me think before I send this email, that text message. Let me think. When your emotions are in charge, you do things and you could be a little irrational. But when you take the time to think it through, mindfulness, when you take the time to be aware, ooh, I'm probably just hangry right now. Ooh, it's almost that time of the month right now. Ooh, I haven't had a haircut. Maybe that's for a man. I don't know what men stress about. Their team. Right? Their team didn't win or something like that. But when you're aware that the emotion or the actions that you are eliciting, that you are showing, that you're displaying is not rooted really in anything other than you need to go to sleep, you're hungry, your team didn't win, your barber canceled your hair appointment, whatever the case may be, you can be thoughtful in your reaction, thoughtful in what you are going to say instead of just reacting. Now, let's get back to the word. So in Matthew chapter 6, verse 34, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for what tomorrow will worry about itself. For tomorrow will worry about itself. Hold on, let me do that again. Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble on its own. What is Jesus saying here? Be present. Don't be anxious about what the future holds. Anxiety, I've heard it said this way. Anxiety is worrying and or anticipating what is to come, or not letting go of what has already passed. You can't change what happened then. You can't determine what's going to happen tomorrow. You can work toward it, right? I can make this podcast and I can hope and pray that someone is transforming through this transformative communication and teachings and coaching and talking, but doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Doesn't mean that every time you go play those numbers, you're going to hit the lottery, as a family member of mine calls it. So just drop that as well. Moving on to being prayerful and reflecting in Matthew chapter 14, verse 23. After he had dismissed them, he went up on the mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone. So Jesus often took time to be alone, to pray, and to reflect, showing the importance of solitude as well as self-awareness. And when I say self-awareness, that is being aware, you know what? I have poured, I have gave. Now it's time for me to be present with my Father. And that's something that I'm recognizing as well now that I am back in the hustle and bustle of life. Whoa. Let me not forget the intentionality that I had in ensuring I woke up early enough to read the word, that I woke up early enough to work out. Granted, my schedule was a lot different, okay? When I was in school, going to class at 8 gave me a lot of time in the morning, especially because I'm an early riser, almost 3.5 hours to 4 hours to get things done before arriving in the classroom. But still ensuring that I'm intentional with my present time so that I am present with the presence of our Father from on high. So in Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 through 7, it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, or you may hear people say by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart as well as your minds in Jesus Christ. Amen. Here, Paul is encouraging believers to focus on prayer and thanksgiving and to be present in the moment, reducing that anxiety and fostering the peaceful mind that is due unto us. As written in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve that God's will is what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Here, Paul is speaking about the renewal of the mind, which involves self-awareness and intentional focus on your thoughts as well as your attitudes. If I want to renew this if I want to bring this mind into captivity, if I want to bring rebellious thoughts into captivity, I have to first be aware of those rebellious thoughts. Then I have to do the work to change those thoughts. Not sure why the thumbnail came up. Alrighty. So in James chapter 1, verse 19, he says, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to become angry. What are we being mindful of here, or aware of here, or cautious of here? What is the takeaway from this teaching? And that is to have a mindful communication, emphasizing to listen and to be thoughtful in our responses. Again, the Bible does not specify to be mindful. But in these words and in these scriptures that I'm giving you, you can see the principle of self-awareness. You can see the principle of thinking before action. You can see the principle of acknowledging, hey, I need a renewing in my mind. So I share that to say the world in the beginning was the Word. Okay. And so everything that is around us, not to turn this into a Bible study, but everything that is around us and what we see, even if turned for bad, it all started from the root, and the root is from the Word in which God spoke. So there is nothing new under the sun. That is also Word. So that means the principles that I've read off to you here. Yes, this world has morphed it into a simple word, mindfulness. And some people have taken mindfulness and manipulated and molded it into something of dark and of evil. We're not going to disregard that. But there's also those who are seeking to remove the distraction, seeking to learn more about themselves, seeking to renew their mind, seeking to be in prayer and fasting and before God with as little distraction as possible. And those are the people I'm talking about. That is what I'm describing. That's the mindfulness that I'm talking about, the awareness that I'm talking about here. So in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Peter encourages believers to release their anxieties to God, promoting a state of peace as well as trust. Okay, y'all, the practical steps are embedded through this episode. Those practical steps look like 1, the breathing exercises. Taking those deep breaths. I will challenge you to learn, what does stress look like for you? How does stress feel for you? And when you understand that and recognize it, then you can implement breathing. Right now, I am so frustrated if they do not stop talking to me. Can't say anything, breathe. Okay, now I can think. That second practical step is moving around, exercise. Take a walk. Shake it off. Stretch. You know how good it feels when you stretch? It feels like a workout. It looks like being present. A practical step, number 3, is to be present. How do I implement being present? Well, first, eliminate distractions. And then 2, sit with yourself. Go for the walk. Sit in your car before you go into the house. Turn the engine off. Make sure your phone is out of your hand. And just be present. Go to the restroom without the distractions of a phone. Not even the newspaper. Not a book. Just yourself. Allow your brain a moment to decompress, allow your thoughts to flow, and allow your thoughts to go. Before I conclude this episode, there are a few stories from the Bible where men and women overcome adversity and they depict resilience. So we have Joseph. And Joseph was the favorite son of Jacob. He was sold into slavery by his jealous brothers, y'all. Sometimes it's in the family. And he was taken to Egypt, where he faced numerous hardships, including false accusations and imprisonment. That's the action. Now the resilience. Despite his suffering, Joseph remained faithful to God. His ability to interpret dreams eventually led to his rise to power as the second in command in Egypt, where he saved many lives during a severe famine, including those of his own family. He didn't turn his back on his enemies, even though his enemies were his family members, his brothers that sold him off to slavery. So this story teaches us about forgiveness, maintaining integrity in the face of adversity, and trusting God's plan, even when it seems like everything is going wrong. Even when everything appears to be out of your control. Know this, that what is taking place had to be authorized, had to be approved, for it is written already. There is an expected end that God has for you. Choose his way. By that way, when you come out victorious. You come out stronger than when you went in. You can find the story of Joseph in Genesis chapter 37, verse. You can find it in Genesis 37 through 50. Okay, then there is the story of Job. Job, not Job, Job. He was a wealthy man who faced extreme suffering when he lost his wealth, his children, as well as his health in a series of tragic events. Okay, so the devil's roaming around and God's like, "What you doing?" And he was like, I'm just trying to find somebody I could pull up on." And God was like, did you try my son, my servant Job? And the devil was like, no. So God's like, try him. What you can't do is kill him, but you can try him in any other aspect. So his family died. He lost all of his crop. And when I say family, I mean every single child, all of his livestock, his crop. He even was smitten with, ulcers, with body sores all over. Go and read the story. I was going to give y'all how it ended and how God blessed him back, but I'm not. So go and read the book of Job for yourself. The resilience that you can take away from Job's story is, despite his immense suffering and the questioning of the family and the questioning of his faith by his friends, as well as his wife. His friends, his wife. This is why it is important to have the right people in your life and to marry the right spouse. Because his wife was like, just curse God and die. Like, just pretty much commit suicide. But go read the story for yourself, because I'm not going to tell y'all how it ended and how God blessed him back. I'm not going to tell you. But Job remained steadfast in his faith in God. And in the end, God restored his fortunes. Go read the story. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to tell you. You almost got it out of me. So the lessons that we can take away from Job's story is to highlight the importance of unwavering faith, patience, as well as integrity. And it teaches that suffering can be a test of faith and that resilience can lead to restoration as well as blessings. We also have Moses. I'm presently reading Moses. It's been a while. I think I started reading. I'm not reading Moses. I'm reading Exodus. Okay. So Moses faced numerous challenges as he led the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. You may have heard, "Let my people go." From confronting Pharaoh to dealing with the complaints and rebellions of the Israelites in the desert, Moses' leadership was consistently tested. after tests. Baby, those people were complaining. But Moses showed resilience by his persistence in his mission despite the numerous setbacks. He was trusting in God's guidance and power, and that his perseverance led to his perseverance led to the eventual liberation of the Israelites and their journey towards the promised land. Now, they could have got there a lot sooner if they weren't murmuring, couldn't say that word, groaning, complaining. You know, I'm not turning this into no Bible study, y'all. I'm not going to turn it into a Bible study. Go and read all of Exodus for yourself. There's so many more references that I have listed here. I'm going to talk about Paul because I like the book of Acts. It's good. So Paul, intentionally a persecutor of Christians, y'all. That means he was out here counseling Christians, like killing them, okay? But he became one of the most influential apostles after his conversion, after him becoming a new creation. Okay, I'll say it in that way. And he faced numerous hardships, including imprisonments, beatings, shipwrecks, and constant opposition. They took this man from jail to jail to jail to jail. They put him on a ship to just send him to a different jail. They wanted to keep Paul locked up. They wouldn't let him out. The resilience here is that Paul remained dedicated to spreading the gospel despite relentless persecutions. His letters from prison continue to inspire and teach Christians worldwide. So what can we take away from Paul's story? Well, one, you have to go read the book of Acts so that you can really get into the nitty-gritty of Paul's story. But what his story teaches us is about the power of transformation, dedication, as well as unwavering faith. And it shows that resilience involves a steadfast commitment to one's mission despite the external and internal challenges. So what I will leave you with here is that despite what it looks like, despite how it feels, you wake up in the morning and you proclaim and you profess over your day, and you choose how you will show up through prayer, through fasting, without murmuring, without complaining, without gossiping, without telling others. Seek to do the work to be the best version of yourself as you move through this lesson, as you move through this chapter, as you move through this season. And you will come out stronger. You will come out better on the other side. You know, they say iron sharpens iron. Some of the most beautiful sculptures, they had to get chiseled away. There had to be some banging and some cutting. Or as I illustrated earlier, when you're working to build your muscles, there has to be some tearing and some ripping and ripping. I was going to say tearing down, but I had already said tearing. In order to build back up. So stick around as we continue to explore overcoming adversity, as we continue to explore the practical steps and the tools, as we continue to explore building resilience and using resilience as a muscle. When you are in that situation, just think, okay, I'm building muscle right now. Okay, let's go. I'm about to come out stronger than how I came in here. Let's go. All right, y'all. Take care. Disclaimer: as a content creator with a background in psychology and ongoing studies in mental health at the graduate level, it's important to clarify that I am not a licensed professional. The videos and podcasts I produce are intended for educational, information, entertainment, and transformational purposes only. While I strive to provide accurate information and insight, it's essential to consult with a licensed mental health professional for clinical perspectives and personalized advice tailored to your specific needs. Your mental well-being is of the utmost importance, and seeking guidance from a qualified provider is encouraged for any concern or issues that you may be experiencing.